Sometimes the scariest villains are the once kindest people. While not born evil, these characters plunged into the darkness because of betrayal, loss, and suffering. Unlike some goody two-shoes MCs who are all about forgive and forget, these guys are here to make their enemies pay, even if it means becoming the very thing they hated. So, without any further ado, these are the good guys in anime who turned evil in the most diabolical ways possible.
慈悲もなく殺してと懇願するまで楽しもうじゃないかなあフレア
Kicking things off is Kiaru from Rito of Healer. As a healer who keeps the whole team alive, our MC was the guy you'd expect to be appreciated in any adventurer party. But apparently not among this group of evil scumbags. While holding the title of heroes, these lowlives did all despicable things to our poor guy until he was completely broken. Abused, drugged, and exploited by the very people he fought beside, our MC's life was literal hell. But once he gained the power to reset time, it was game over for these bastards. He didn't simply choose to rebuild his life, he chose to absolutely violate his enemies and thoroughly enjoy his sweet revenge.
残念惜しかったな俺の勝ちだ
俺の名はエレン・イエーガー壁の巨人はこの島の外にある全ての地表を踏み鳴らすそこにある命をこの世から駆逐するまで
Now, unlike Kiaru, who was turned into a villain, our boy Eren was a bit of a nutjob right from the beginning. I mean, he killed 3 grown-ass men when he was just a kid, and actually felt satisfied about it. Like, bro, you're 10. What the hell happened to you? No wonder you grew up to be a mass genocidaire. When Eren learned the truth about his enemies, that they were humans just like him, we get to see one of anime's most diabolical descent into villainy. This man quietly planned and came up with the most evil but surefire way to end their suffering once and for all. To kill everyone in the world except the Eldians. I mean, he got a point. They can't hate you if they don't exist. But bro really went too far this time, and Mikasa had to put an end to his madness, despite knowing he was doing everything for her and her allies. While his actions were definitely evil, all he wanted was for his people to be at peace, no matter the cost.
私がナザリック地下大墳墓が主人アインズール・ゴウンだまず我々に害をなす者たちにその愚かさのツケを支払ってもらう私の愛する静寂が戻ってくるまで順次始末していくは
Let's be honest. If we're stuck in a game where anything is possible and we're the most powerful being in the world, there's gonna be war crimes committed that'd make the H-Man blush. That's exactly what happened with Ainz from Overlord. Our guy was just an ordinary salaryman who found meaning and camaraderie within the virtual world of Yggdrasil. When he was mysteriously trapped in the game as his character, the all-powerful undead overlord Momonga, he initially sought to understand the world and protect what remained of his guild. But as time passed, his human morality began to erode. Detached from his former self and surrounded by NPCs who worshipped him, Ainz slowly embraced his role as a dark ruler, making ruthless decisions and justifying atrocities in the name of order and conquest. From killing thousands just to showcase his power to forcing entire clans to become his slaves, this man stands tall as one of the most evil protagonists in all of anime.
我が至高なる力に喝采せよ目にしたものすべて何もかも殺せああいけ皆殺し殺せ我が妻のため殺せ私が信じた唯一の愛のため殺せ永遠に消えることのない我が憎しみのために
Humans were dumb forks in the medieval period, and were especially mean when it came to women and science thanks to the church's influence. One such lady who fell victim to such atrocity was our girl Lisa from Castlevania. Lord Dracula was once a reclusive vampire who kept himself away from any and all human contact because he knew they were a pain in the butt. However, when he met Lisa, who was curious to understand all the advanced science and machinery at his castle, he fell deeply in love with her. After spending years together, the lady had studied medical science from Dracula and was helping out the people in need, while Dracula himself learned to become more kind and social towards humans. But their happiness was short-lived as word got out that Lisa was a witch who was using weird magic to heal people. The very folks she sought to help tied her up and burned the poor woman to ashes, celebrating her death like it was a festival. This event absolutely shattered Dracula, unleashing centuries of grief and rage he could no longer contain. The man who once valued all life equally turned into a vengeful force, hell-bent on wiping out humanity.
ねえ、ありがとう。結構住み心地いいよ。あなたの家。
Happy Sugar Life might sound like a sweet and comfy slice of life anime, but good god, it's the exact opposite of that. With one of the most terrifying yandere MCs of recent times, this show is basically the daily life of a messed up serial killer who wants to marry a little girl she had kidnapped. Sato began as a polite, well-mannered high school girl who was charming, responsible, and admired by those around her. But beneath that innocent exterior hid a growing obsession that would twist her life beyond recognition. After meeting a young girl named Shio, this crazy girl convinced herself that she was her soulmate, and that protecting their happy life justified any action, even manipulation, kidnapping, and murder. The way she casually unalives anyone and everyone who stood in her path, and the way she gets more and more criminal with each passing episode, is insane.
愛をささやかれたことなら何度もあった。けど、どんな言葉をもらっても、何をしてもらっても、何も感じなかった。
こんなもの認めてやるもんか！
Literally every other villain in Naruto is a good guy turned evil, but if I gotta pick just one, it has to be the Naruto before Naruto, Obito Uchiha. Once a kind-hearted and optimistic ninja who dreamed of becoming the Hokage, Obito's life was very similar to that of our dear protagonist. He was kind, hard-working, and righteous, always giving his best at everything. But things changed during the Third Great Ninja War, where he was believed to have died a hero, crushed under a rock. But in reality, he was saved and later manipulated by Madara, as he was made to watch the love of his life die right in front of him, and that broke him completely. Consumed by rage and grief, Obito abandoned his ideals and re-emerged as the masked villain Tobi, orchestrating chaos from the shadows. The same boy who once preached about being nice became the mastermind behind the Fourth Ninja War, causing countless deaths and tragedies.
今でもそうだと見てみろ！俺の心には何もありゃしない。今はもう痛みさえ感じやしない。この風穴はこの地獄の世界に開けられたものだ。
そうだ、新たなる魔王。闇の翼、フェムト。
Griffith's fall from hero to villain in Berserk is one of the most infamous and haunting transformations in anime history. Once the charismatic and visionary leader of the Band of the Hawk, Griffith inspired loyalty, hope, and admiration from everyone around him, especially Guts and Casca. But after being imprisoned and tortured to the point he almost died, this man abandoned his morality and chose ambition over humanity. In a horrific act during the eclipse, he sacrificed his comrades to ascend as Femto, one of the truly evil a-holes in the world. As if that wasn't enough emotional damage, this guy also does our MC dirty by deflowering his girl right in front of him. It was totally disgusting and uncalled for, but I guess that event truly cemented his role as a ruthless villain in the story. If there's one character in anime who's the poster boy of good guys getting so drunk on power they turn evil, it's Light Yagami. Introduced as a brilliant and idealistic student, Light initially used the Death Note with the intention of cleansing the world of criminals to create a utopia. Now this is already in the gray area, as he was willing to bypass the law and actually kill people simply because he gained the power to do so. But on the bright side, he at least kept his targets to criminals, until he didn't. The power corrupted him, and he slowly transformed into Kira, a cold, calculating figure who believed himself a god above judgment. What began as justice quickly became tyranny, with Light willing to manipulate, deceive, and murder anyone who stood in his way. And by the end of the series, he had become a diabolical serial killer, having killed over a staggering 100,000 people, regardless of whether they were actually evil or not.
もはや僕は正義。世界の人間の希望。そうだ。僕がキラだ。ヒーロー社会が崩壊したとしても、裏の支配者になったとしても、俺はきっと全部嫌いなんだ。息づくすべてが俺をイラつかせるんだ。じゃあもう壊そう。一旦全部地獄から天国まで見せてやる。
Next up is one of anime's most twisted yet tragic villains of recent times, Tomura Shigaraki from My Hero Academia. As the grandson of a famous Japanese hero, Tomura always aspired to be like his grandmother, protecting the weak and fighting for justice. But his control freak of a father absolutely hated this idea and made sure to crush his child's innocent dreams. And at the worst possible timing, when Tomura was getting all emotional, his quirk awakens and he ends up accidentally killing his entire family. Angry that the heroes were not there to save him and his family, this confused and broken boy became a vengeful villain under the influence of All for One, who molded his pain into hatred. What followed was a rage-fueled rampage, as he set out to destroy the hero society and tear down the fake sense of peace that was holding the world together.
俺は本当にただ壊すだけだ。未来なんかいらないんだ。こんなものも全ていらない。これは何ですか？
この二人は頭がおかしい。不思議な力で村人をたびたび襲うのです。この二人が一連の事件の原因でしょう。
違います。事件の原因はもう私が取り除きました。
私の孫もこの二人に殺されかけたことがあります。あなたたちの親もそうだった。
皆さん、一旦外に出ましょうか。
See, the problem with saving the world from the shadows is that no one would be grateful to you or your work. Especially if you look at the ugly side of humanity, whatever motivation you might have would simply fade away. That's exactly what happened with Suguru Geto, from Jujutsu Kaisen. Once a powerful and respected sorcerer alongside the all-famous Gojo Satoru, this man fought to protect humans from the cursed spirits. But over time, the endless cycle of killing to protect ungrateful civilians wore him down. Witnessing the cruelty and ignorance of non-sorcerers, he came to see them as the root of all suffering. Consumed by this belief, he turned against the very world he once swore to protect and started killing off people in hordes. But his villain arc didn't end well for him, as he eventually gets unalived by his best bud Gojo Satoru. However, as fate would have it, his corpse gets possessed by Kenjaku, who continues his legacy, raining down villainy long after the man's death. Mother!
脳が震える。怠惰なる剣の見えざる手です。
Next up is one of the most despicable scumbags in all of ReZero, who turned out to have a surprisingly angelic personality before his whole villain arc. Once a devout and well-meaning follower of the Witch of Envy, this man genuinely believed in kindness and protecting what he loved. He was noble, composed, and guided by a strong sense of purpose. But after being controlled by Pandora and manipulated into killing his beloved lady, his sanity shattered. Twisted by grief and cursed by dark magic, Beetlejuice transformed into a maniacal and unstable villain obsessed with the concept of love and torture. The true horrors of his madness was showcased during the time he brutally killed Rem while making the helpless Subaru watch and suffer. I've talked about this moment in detail in my previous video, so make sure to check it out if you haven't already. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.